In this video, we're gonna create a calculator in C#. If you want to learn more about C# and Windows Phone application and other programming languages such as Python, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, please like it. It will be a great support. Let's begin. So first, let's design our calculator. At first, I want to change the name of the form, and I'm going to change it to calculator. Okay, so the name has just changed, and I'm gonna change the dimension of the form. I want to change it to, for example, this size. I think it's better, and I'm gonna use two panels in order to separate keyboards from our labels where I want to show the calculation and the history. Okay, so let's choose one panel here. I'm gonna use a table layout panel for our keys, our buttons, and just a panel to actually include our labels where I want to show the results. Okay, so here I'm going to change the name to panel, for example, top, and let's change dock to here top. Okay, and I'm going to change the size to, for example, this size. I think this is good. And in here I'm going to change the dock here to actually feel. Let's find it, this one. Okay, now I think it's better. So let me change the name to, for example, panel down. Okay, and now I'm gonna add rows and columns to this actual table. So let's change dock to down. I think it's better. I'm gonna here set the size to this one, and I'm gonna use add column here, and I want to add let's see, I think 5 columns, and add rows also. Okay, well, now we have 6 rows and 4 columns. That's great. Now I'm gonna edit these columns and rows. I'm gonna change the size. I want them to be equal, and so I use percent here, and all of them has same dimension. And rows also, I have to select all of them. Okay, and hit percent here, and if I click OK, you see here all the actually cell of this table are the same size. So let's decrease the size of table. I think it's better, and let's increase the size of this panel. I want to add 2 labels here, so let's add our labels. The first label up here is going to show the history of our calculation. I'm going to change it to LBL history, underline history, and this is actually saving our history calculation. And I'm gonna here put false in front of auto size, so I can increase the size of this label. Okay, and I think it's great. This size is okay, and let's change text align to I think left top is great. I'm gonna change a border style here to fixed single. I think it's better now. And let's add another label here, and I'm gonna change the name to LBL underline results, so we see the result here. And also here I'm gonna change border style to fixed 3D. I'm gonna change back color to white, so it will be more clear. Let's use white here, and now I have to check here false for auto size, and then I'm gonna increase the size, the dimension of this label. Okay, and I think it's great here. And let's increase the font and delete this text. Okay, and also let's increase the size, the font size to 11. I think it's great, and here I have to delete this text. Well, it's great, and also let's increase the size so it is more clear. 10, I think it's great. Okay, now I think it's ready. Now let's use our buttons here. I'm gonna here use button, and let's set some property that are actually the same for all the buttons that I'm gonna put here. The first one is dock here. I'm gonna use dock property and set it to fill. That's better, I think. And then I'm gonna copy this button, use Ctrl C and use Ctrl V to copy the button all the actual table so that I can actually save time. Well, now I'm gonna change the name of these buttons, and then I'm gonna actually continue the video so that it will not be long. Now the design of our calculator is finished. Now I can actually set events for each button so that when we click on button, some code must be run and the result must be actually shown. Okay, so in here, as you may know, all these buttons 0, 1, 2 to 9, all of them act similarly. Okay, so I have to define a function for actually mouse click of each button, okay, from 0 to 9. Okay, so I select all of them, and now I'm gonna go to events here, and let's find click mouse here. That's here, mouse click, and I have to here set a name for this event and this function, btn underline mouse click, okay. And if I double click on this, we go to this function here, okay. And here plus, minus, and here I have to use star. I made a mistake here, let me correct it. This is not a plus, this is a star to actually use for multiplication. Okay, it's better now. Well, all of these plus, minus, multiplication here is star, and this slash, all of them are operations, all of them are operands that are used for operations, so all of them act in the same way, and I have to use just one function for all of them. So I have to go here, and on mouse click I say operand underline mouse click. Okay, so if I double click on this, we go here, it is okay here. So, and for these buttons I have to create a new event. For this one, a new function for click event. So on mouse click here again, let me find it. I have to set a function ce underline mouse click, and for this one also, as you see, ce underline, and for c here, let me find it, mouse click, okay, c underline mouse click, okay. This is our backspace, and for this one, and I have to also define separate events for these buttons here, percent sqrt x power 2 and 1 divided by x. Okay, now I have actually defined functions for each button of this calculator here, and if you want to see them in here, we have equal underline mouse click, that's for equal. We have actually dot a mouse click for this button, and for all of the numbers we have a btn underline mouse click, and for this one sign sgn underline mouse click, which actually is called when we click on this button, and percent sqrt x power 2 and reverse for these buttons are actually defined as you see here: reverse, power, sqrt, and percent. If you want to see here, you go to event, and right here mouse click, you define the name of the event. Okay, now I have to actually change the name of the buttons. If you see here, this is actually button 1 and it is not actually clear. I have to change the name of the buttons. Right here you see this is button 1, and I'm going to change the name and set a more meaningful name for each button. Okay, now I have set the name for each button, and I think they are more meaningful here. btn sgn for the sign, and btn 0, 2, 5, and the same way for all the numbers. And here btn equal, here btn sum, here for subtraction, multiplication, and division, and reverse, power, sqrt, and a percent. Okay, and now the name are actually okay, I think. And here we have label result and label history. I think it's now time to jump into the code and write some code in order to make this calculator ready. So in here, first I'm gonna define some variables. I may not be able to explain some of them right now, but later in the coding you will learn why I use these variables. Okay, so here first I want to use a boolean is there operator. Okay, this is the name, and I'm gonna put it to false here first. And this is used, I'll actually explain later why it is used. Bool, and I'm gonna use operation needed here, and it is for the time when I have actually selected one of the operators, and then I'm gonna see whether an operation is needed or still we are inserting numbers. Okay, you will see why I use this variable. I'm gonna use false here again as a default value. Okay, and we need another boolean, bool equal pressed. It is for the time to check whether the equal is pressed or not. And I'm gonna use false because right now nothing is pressed at the beginning, and we need string to store the actually operand, so I use store operand here. And then we need a double to store the variable. I need double, I use here question mark. It actually allow null to be actually assigned to a variable. Okay, so the difference between double with double and question mark is that when you use double with question mark, you can actually assign null to this variable. Okay, first number, this is our variable, and I'm gonna assign null here. As you see, it is actually possible and no error is detected. So, and I think this is the last one. We need here second number. Okay, and that's it. These are the variables that are global here, and you can use them inside any function. Now let's start with actually some events that are easier to explain, and they have less code than other functions. Here, for example, dot here, when I actually click this button, dot here, I have to actually add single quotes that acts as dots to actually make float number. Okay, so in here I have to check for the first time that is there any dot inside actually between the numbers or not, because if there is a dot, or in other words single quotes in this program, so you cannot actually add another one. A float number cannot have two single quotes, or in other words dots in real world. Okay, so you have to check first. So I use a conditional actually statement if, and here I have to check label result here, and if this one dot text dot I use contain function to see whether this text contains that single quote or not. I have to use here I use backspace here. This is actually escape character to be able to use single quote here. If I delete this one, we face error. Okay, so I use escape character here, so I can actually use single quote right here. So if this one contains, I want to use this symbol to actually say if this text does not have single quote, I want to add one. Okay, so I use lbl result dot text, and I'm gonna add a single quote here. Okay, I use double quote, and I can use single quote between them. Okay, this is a trick, and you don't need escape character right here. Okay, this is another way. So this is ready, and let's try this. Okay, in here, as you see, if I hit this button and a single quote is appeared here, if I actually click it again, there is no single quote, because I said if there is one, you don't need to add anything, but if there isn't any single quote, you can add one here. Okay, this is actually done, and here let's actually use this event. This is gonna actually be called when I click on this button. So in here I have to check whether there is a minus actually before our number. If there is one, we have to change it to positive, but for positive numbers we do not use plus at the beginning. When there is no minus, it means it is actually positive. So I have to first check if lbl result dot text, the first character. Okay, I have to check the first character. If it is actually minus, okay, I have to remove. It means that it is a negative number, so I have to actually delete that symbol at the beginning, and for that I use a function lbl dot text here. I want to assign lbl result dot text, and dot here I'm going to use substring, and I'm going to select characters. Okay, I use from 1 to lbl result dot text dot length. Okay, this is actually showing the length of the string, and I'm gonna use -1 because it starts from 0, and actually I leave out the 0 character and I selected from 1 to the last one, okay, and I assigned that string to this text, okay. So the minus, which was at the beginning of the number, is deleted now. Or if actually there is not any minus at the beginning, the number is positive, I just need to add minus at the beginning of our number, okay. So I use lbl result dot text, and I'm gonna use equal, I have to just use minus here, plus lbl result dot text, okay. Now I think this method is done. Let's go for here CE. In here, when I click on this button CE right here, I want to just delete the text inside this label, okay. So it is really clear. I use lbl result.text, and I just need to use these quotations here without anything, so it is empty, okay. When I use C, I want to delete also the history, okay. So I have to use lbl results.text equal to actually null, and lbl lbl history.text also the same way. And now, because I want to start from the beginning, I have to actually assign here for the first number, I want to assign null here for the first number, and for the second number I'm gonna assign 0, so as no effect, and here operation needed, because there is no operation is needed when we are actually using from the beginning. So in here I used operation needed, and in here I have to use false, okay. And the last one, we also have to actually clear store operand, because when we are clearing everything, we don't need to store any operand inside this variable, okay. So it must be empty 2, okay. Now I think it is ready. So when we click on C, everything is actually reset and everything is stored from the beginning, okay. For backspace, I just need to check whether there is any number inside that label, any text, okay. And then I have to actually delete the last one, okay. It's so easy. I use lbl result.text and .length. I want to check the length if it is greater than 0, so I'm going to use here, okay, and I'm gonna put lbl result.text here and assign lbl result.text and use .remove function here, and I'm gonna remove the last one, okay. So I have to actually here set the index, okay, the start index, because I'm gonna delete the last one. I have to just say lbl result.text.length -1. This is the last one, okay. So it only delete the last number, okay. Now let's see how we can actually write code for these buttons here. When I click on this one, sqrt, power or reverse, what is gonna happen, okay. So let's first use sqrt here. I want to define a variable double to store the result here, okay. And then I have to check whether there is any number, okay, inside our label. If lbl result.text, if it is empty, so nothing is gonna happen and we just return, okay. But if it is not empty, there is some numbers inside on that label, I have to use result here to save the result, and here I use convert to double, okay, and I'll tell you why to double, and lbl result.text, so I convert the text to double because I'm gonna use sqrt from math actually class, and this one only accept double, okay, as the input. So I'm gonna say result equals to math dot sqrt, and I'm gonna pass result here, and I'm gonna show the result lbl result dot text equals to result, which is double here, to string. I have to convert it to string to be able to be shown on the label. Okay, so this is also done, and you have to write the same code, almost the same for power. You have to first define a double result here, okay, and then you have to check whether there is actually any number inside that label. Okay, if there isn't, you have to return, and in here these lines are also the same, and you just need to delete the second line sqrt and use power. Okay, and I have to use result here, and also another input which is actually defining the power. Okay, so result to the power of 2. Okay, and for reverse it is also the same, so I copy all the code here and paste it right here. For this I'm not gonna use this function. I have to just use here, because I'm gonna reverse this, so I use 1 divided by result. Okay, and now it's ready. Okay, and for the percent here it is more tricky percent, and I have to write more code. We need first a double which accept null as pers here as percent, so I use here again another double to store the result here. Okay, and here I say if as other method, so we have to check whether it is empty or not. Our label, I mean label result dot text, if it is empty, so we have to return. Okay, nothing is gonna happen. But if it is not empty, something is gonna happen. So I use pers here to store the result of convert to double. Again, I'm gonna convert to double. I'm gonna convert the what is in our label result text. I'm gonna convert it, and then I have to use this formula, and result equals to pers multiplied by first number. Okay, first number, and the result of this must be divided by 100. Okay, I'll show you on code how it works when it is done. Okay, so and at the end I have to actually store the result. lbl result dot text is gonna be result dot to string. Okay, now it's great. Okay, we face error here, so result here must be also nullable, so I use double with a question mark. Okay, so that is also ready. Now let's go and write some code inside this function, and when it is called, it means that we pressed one of these numbers. Okay, so what is going to happen here? First we have to check whether equal is pressed or not, so I here check equal pressed. So when equal is pressed, I have to say lbl result dot text. It is actually we say here button. I'm gonna use upcasting here and use sender dot text. I'm gonna actually store the text of that number inside this label, so we see what button is clicked and what number is entered. And here operation needed, because here there is no operation now because we are first just entering our number, so operation needed must be false. Okay, and then in the last one we say lbl history dot text is gonna be empty. Okay, and then if we check another thing, if actually is there operator. Okay, in here we are checking this one because we see whether our number has one digit or more than one digit. Okay, so I have to check whether before that number is there any operator or not. Okay, so in here I say lbl our result.text must be I have to use again casting sender and .text, the text of the button. And if there is not any operation, it means that this number is going to be the second digit of our number. Okay, so I have to use lbl result.text and add that digit to our number. Okay, so I have to use casting again button and sender.text. Okay, this way I'm gonna get the text of the button. Okay, at the end when a number is hit, is there operation is going to be false because there is no operation. We just enter the number, and equal is pressed is going to be false because we enter the number, not equal. Okay, so it's going to be false. Okay, when we click on operation mouse click, I'm gonna define a function here and call that function. Okay, I'm gonna create a function here, private function private. I'm gonna use void here because I'm not gonna return anything, and use operation as the name of the function, and it will get just one string, okay, which is the operand. Okay, and that's it. So in here inside this one I just call operation, and as the string I'm gonna send the text of that button. Okay, so here I'm gonna use casting again and sender and use .text. So what is gonna happen inside this operation? Well, when we are going to actually click on one of the operation, we have to first say that when we click on, for example, plus or minus, is it the first time that we click on that operand or the second time? If it is the first time, there is no need to calculate anything. We just need to store the first number, and then after clicking on that operand, we wait for the second number. But if it is for the second time that we are hitting, for example, plus, I have to calculate the result of that second and third numbers. Okay, so in here first I'm gonna use double and define results here, and after that use is there operator, and I'm gonna set it to true because we click on operator and it is obvious that we have an operator here, and we're gonna check if there is anything inside that label. So if lbl.result.text, if it is empty, and also our history is empty, lbl history.text, if both of them are empty, so nothing is to operate, and we return. So this is for the first part, and if there is something to operate, we are gonna say lbl history.text. We're gonna write something inside our history, and I'm gonna use plus equal here to add some information, and I'm gonna use here space to be more clear, and lbl.result.text, so the text of our number, and here add another space here, and then use operand. Okay, in here you will see the result whenever I run that calculator. So after that, in here I have to check whether it is for the first time this operand is clicked or for the second time. So I check whether any operation is needed or not. Sorry, operation needed. Well, in here we need this one. Okay, operation needed. Well, if operation needed is false, it means it is for the first time that this operand is clicked, or any operand is clicked. So I'm gonna store our operand, and so that we can use it for the next time. And we have first number, whatever is inside our label result is our first number, so I'm going to convert it to double. So let's use, sorry, first number, I have to use convert to double, okay, and I have to pass lbl result.text. Okay, and then we know that operation is actually needed this time, and for the next time that we click on any operation, we have to do operation. Okay, so here operation needed. Okay, I actually made a mistake about the spelling of this variable, but it's okay. Well, in here, so, and for the last part, we have to check if it is for the second time that is operation needed. Okay, so we need else if here, else if, and in here I have to check whether operation needed is equal to true, and also we had not entered equal yet. Okay, so equal press must be false. So in this situation, we are going to actually use the second number, which is inside our label. So we use convert we read the text from our results, and then we have our second number. So we are going to actually calculate our result. Okay, so how we can calculate our result, we need another function here. So let me define that function. It's void. It's not going to be void, it's going to be double, because it's going to actually return the result of calculation. So its name is calc, and it's going to just get the operand here. Okay, and then we delete the space and use brackets here, curly brackets, and inside this calc I have to use switch case to define which operand is actually clicked. Okay, so I use switch case, and I have to check operand here, and then I need to set cases. So case 1 is going to be plus, which is going to calculate the summation, and let me copy and paste others. Okay, so we have plus, and we also have minus, and we have multiplication, and this one for division. Okay, well, that's all of them. So, and at the end I have to return results. So I have to define a result here at the top. Sorry, it's made a mistake. That's it. In here I have to define double result. Okay, that's great. And the result is going to be returned, so I have to use here nullable double and nullable double here. So, and inside these cases I have to do calculation, and it's simple. I say results is going to be first number plus second number. Okay, and I'm going to copy this line and paste it here, and then paste it in this line to save time and also energy. Okay, and at the last part I have to also paste it here. So in here I use minus, and here use multiplication star, and here use division. It's going to be divided, and the result is going to be returned. Okay, so in every part it is returned, and I'm gonna first here use 0 to avoid this error, because this actually compiler thinks that one case of these cases might not happen, and so result might be null, but I set 0 here, so that in that case, if none of these happen, which is impossible because we are going to actually write our codes carefully, in case we write a 0 here. So okay, let's get back here. We say if the second number is entered, we just need to use actually a method to use calculation and store the result in this variable. Okay, so I'm gonna call calc here, and I'm gonna pass just operand. So our store operand is gonna pass, and in here I'm gonna just set the result is here, and I'm gonna use lbl result.text to store the result, and result.toString because it is a label. Okay, and in case, because I might I might click on another operand and I want to continue the calculation, I store the result in first variable so that I can continue calculation. Okay, so I use lbl.text, and in here I use store operand and assign operand to this one to be used for the next time. Okay, sorry, in here I have to assign result because our number is double. Okay, now it's true. We have another possibility, which is actually for the time that operation needed is true and equal pairs is true also, so we need another else if to cover that possibility. So let me copy this line, okay, and paste it right here and change this one to true. In that case I have to change equal pressed to true, and then store operand also to operand. Okay, and this is all the possibility that might happen. So this function is also ready, and now we just need to complete our last event, which is when we hit equal, and this is going to be actually the last one. So I use double with question mark to allow null value. So I use result here to store the result as other function result. Okay, that's great, and we have to check whether our first number is entered or it is null. If it is null, so nothing is going to happen. If it is null, we just return. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so in here, because equal is pressed, I'm gonna set equal pressed to true, and after that is there operation. There is actually operation here, so it's gonna be true. I'm gonna read second number from our label, so I use lbl result.text. Okay, so I have to change it to double, sorry, so let's use here convert to double in order to convert this one to double. Okay, and then I have to store results, and I have to call calc to calculate the result here, and store operand is going to be passed. Okay, and we have to change the text of our history, so I say lbl history.text. It's going to be plus here, and I use space, and after that I use lbl.result.text and plus space here, and then we need equal symbol here, and after that I have to say result.toString to show the result in history also, and then I'm gonna use \n to go to the next line for next calculation. Okay, and it is done. And here I'm going to use lbl result.text to show the result on the label result. So here on result.toString. Okay, and in here at the end I'm going to again use first number, and in case I have to store the result in here. Okay, so this function is also done. Now let's see what is going to happen when I run this program. Okay, in here I'm going to use 23, for example, plus 3 equals to 26. If you see here, let me use a CE here to clear this line, and you see here, everything is clear here. So I say, for example, 56 minus 9 equal to 47. So I use CE, this label is clear. I use C, this one is clear. For example, I say 16 and I use SQRT, so the result is 4. It is working. And for example, let's check another one. For example, power 5 power 2. I say 5 power 2. Well, in here I made a mistake. Okay, as you see here, when we hover on this button, whatever I write here is deleted. Okay, so we have to fix this. We made a mistake about a backspace, and we defined a wrong method here. So let's see what has happened. For backspace, I'll go to events. Okay, as you see here on most move, it is, so we have to change it. Sorry, I have to use here and delete this one and change it to mouse click. Okay, and now it is gonna work. Okay, so backspace mouse click, I have to write the code again. Here it is simple. We just need to check whether there is anything inside that label by checking its length. So dot text dot length, if it is greater than 0, you just need to remove the last one. So lbl result dot text is gonna be lbl result, lbl result dot text dot remove, and I'm gonna remove the last one. So lbl result dot text dot length -1. Okay, this is gonna be our backspace. So if I write -6, I use backspace, one of them is deleted and the other one is deleted also. Okay, and it is working. Okay, everything is great. And for example, I use 23. In here I use minus 23 plus, for example, 1 equals to -22. You see the result is up here, and you can continue. Also use a plus here. So you see in here, because I assigned this number, the result on the first number, it became the first number, so that I can continue on my calculation. And I say, for example, 6 here. Okay, well, I made a mistake here, and I have to change this true to false, because it is already true. Equal press is true when we enter here, and I have to change it to false, and this bug is gonna be deleted. So in here, for example, I say 23 plus 6 equals to 29, and I'm gonna continue, and I say plus for example 5, and here you see we can continue and nothing is deleted. Okay, that don't forget to correct that mistake. Okay, so you see everything is working. For example, 34 is here. I'm gonna use backspace, so I use CE to clear the label, and I can continue calculation. You see here, because I started the new one, this history is cleared. Okay, but if I continue, we will see the history. Okay, now I want to connect our keyboard to our calculator, so you don't need to click on this button with your mouse, so you can use your keyboard and type whatever number you want or operand that you want. Okay, so in order to do that, first you have to go to our form here, to the property of the form, and set key preview to true. Here it is false, and you have to set it to true. and then you have to go to the events, and here key press, and if you double click on this one, and this event is actually created, this function is created, so you can write your code inside this function. First we create a button here. This button is used when we hit one of the keys on keyboard, and this actually acts as a button. Okay, so we can send this button to here, this function, this event, btn mouse click, and here btn mouse click, so we can use this method and you don't need to actually define new methods. Okay, so in here we check whether our keys are between 0 and 9, and if yes, we actually set the text of that key to the button, and we send, as I told you, button to our mouse click, and we send also null here because the second argument of the this function is not important to us. And then here we check whether they are operand or not. If they are operand, we call operation and send this string, which is actually defining our operand. And here this actually symbol is actually showing backspace. When we hit on backspace, this is the key char, and we call our backspace method. And also we actually check whether it is equal or dot, which is actually our single quotes. Okay, if you see here, we use single quote here, but when you are going to hit key from your keyboard, you can also use dot. Okay, you can also use single quote, whatever you want. You can also set one of them. It is optional, it is up to you. And so we call dot mouse click, and in the end, in here, we go through every button and we check whether the button that we hit is actually here, and we're just going to put focus on that button. Let's try to see how it works. Well, in here, instead of clicking on these buttons, I'm using my keyboard, and as you see here, I press 2 and the focus goes on 2, and also 2 is printed here, so I hit on 5, and as you see here is working, and I use one of the operands, for example plus, and for example 10 here, and I click on, for example, enter, and let's see, our 0 is not working because we did not include 0 here. So let's see if it is greater or equal, and in here we have to add equal to. So now, well, we faced error here because I think here we made a mistake, and that's now. Let's see here, for example, I write 10, now it is working, plus, for example, 15. Now if I hit equal, you see here it is working. Here is the end of this session. I hope it was useful for you. I tried to explain more about Windows Phone applications by creating this calculator. I tried to connect your keyboard to the calculator and use various features of Windows Phone application. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. It will be a great support. Leave comments and ask any question that you want. If you want to learn more about C#, Windows Form, and other programming languages such as Python, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back by more interesting videos. Bye for now.